course, I can't take credit for this. You know, they just got the idea to push me into title contention, and I'll never forget the way they did it. They looked around and they picked out like the top 10. They told the people, you know, King's going to go on or Jerry Lawler's going to go on this quest for the title, but in order to get a title shot, he's got to go through the top 10 contenders, and they had a list of you know, Terry Funk, Dory Funk, the Sheik, Bobo Brazil, Dick the Bruiser, all of these big names that people had only read about in magazines or things in Memphis. These guys had not really ever even come to Memphis, but the people knew that they were big national stars, and this was the first time that the promoters Goulas and Welch, and I think Jerry Jarrett was the one that talked him into doing it, actually went to the expense of, you know, paying the trans and flying these guys in, these big stars into Memphis to wrestle me, and the people just got swept up into it, and all of this was to try to get a shot at Jack Brisco, who was at the time the NWA World Champion. You know, I got to wrestle. The funny thing was, this was one of my, I guess, one of my shining moments as far as being a talker or doing interviews, because every one of these top 10 guys that came in, once they saw me, they without exception, they all refused to put me over. It was like, you know, we had the idea that I would come in, I would get to win over all of these guys and then face Jack Brisco. But I didn't realize that all these guys didn't always do business that way, and you know, they would all get there, and I'll never forget the Sheik came down, and I went back to his dressing room and sat down beside him and started talking to him a little bit, and he was putting clothes on and all this kind of stuff and getting his gear out, and I'm trying to make small talk, and after a little while he said, "Kid, do you know who I'm wrestling tonight?" And I said, "Yeah, me." And he said, "Oh, I thought you were like the ring crew or something." So anyway, it boiled down to a lot of these guys got disqualified or one way or the other, or count out or some sort of thing. Sam Bass interfered. But anyway, I was able to talk my way after the match and convince everybody on television that I had won each one of these matches. And so finally got to wrestle Jack Brisco, and that, you know, that was probably one of the biggest matches as far as instant credibility. But I think this quest for the title thing really led up to that and made that match that big.